Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Shushmita Basu Majumdar from the Department of Ancient Indian History and Culture, University of Calcutta. Today in this course, Indian Culture, the subject is Indian Numismatics, and the module which you will be learning today is pre-Satavahana coins and currency systems. So let us learn a little about the pre-Satavahana coins. So the first important term here is Satavahanas. As we know that the Satavahanas ruled in Deccan in the early historic phase. So pre-Satavahana is a term which has been coined by scholars, numismatists and historians in the context of Deccan, and for the first time Nilakantha Shastri in his book entitled A History of South India mentioned that the Satavahanas succeeded the Mauryas. The term pre-Satavahana generally is designated as a time period between the Mauryas and the Satavahanas, but in other sense it can also be taken as a phase before the coming of the Satavahanas. So we will have to learn a little about the polity in Deccan to understand the coins and currency pattern. Specifically, this time is taken as a time between the Mauryas and the Satavahanas, that is 3rd century BCE or 2nd century BCE to 1st century BCE. B.D. Chattopadhyay has put forward the theory of the presence of localities and locality nuclei. Deccan had several localities which were tied to locality nuclei or had at the apex a locality nuclei. So these are basically clan-based polities. So while explaining what is a locality nuclei, Chattopadhyay gives the example of the Bhatti Prolu relic casket, wherein you find Kuberaka as a Rajan. At the same time, Kuberaka is also mentioned as the Pramukha of the Singha Goshti. So Goshtis are clans, and these clans also had a leader, and such among several Goshtis and leaders, you finally get a superior person who is the leader of several Goshtis. So this person is actually the Rajan. So giving his theory of the presence of such clan-based polities, B.D. Chattopadhyay mentions that these are small localities in Deccan, and these localities finally had a nuclei, and the Satavahanas also rise out of such a system of polity which is very typical of Deccan. And when you look at the numismatic sources, you will see that the coins also circulated in small pockets in these localities. Even when the Satavahanas come to power, we find that the localities coexist with the Satavahanas. Now let us learn a little more about the currency pockets and the pre-Satavahana phase. Among the pre-Satavahana coins, there are two types of coins. One is the uninscribed and the others are inscribed. So we can broadly divide them into uninscribed and the inscribed issues. Among the uninscribed cast copper coins and the uninscribed die-struck coins, we see that these clearly preceded the inscribed coins, even those of the Satavahanas, in the sites like Brahmapuri, Chandravalli, Nivasa and Pauni, particularly in the excavated context. There are several pre-Satavahana coins issued by the rulers who are otherwise not known from any other source. The Satavahanas are seen ruling over territories where local rulers having Bhadra, Mitta, Datta and Sena name endings. So these rulers are basically local rulers who preceded the Satavahanas in small localities. Apart from all the local currency, the silver punchmark coins of the Mauryas were very much in circulation during the post-Mauryan phase. So when we think about the pre-Satavahana phase, it's basically a post-Mauryan phase in Deccan. Though when we look at the theory of Nilkantha Shastri, we see that he has mentioned that just after the Mauryas in Deccan, we find the Satavahanas. But now, from the excavated context, this has become very clear that after the Mauryas, there was a distinct pre-Satavahana phase, and then the Satavahanas come to power. Now, coming to the localities, let us visit the locality of Vidarbha, which was issuing coins, and very significantly, the coins of Vidarbha have been minted by punching technique, which is multiple archaic die striking technique. So you use multiple dies to mint these coins. And one of the symbols out of the 5 which you have on these coins of Vidarbha has the name of the ruler, which is very strange. So you do not have 5 symbols on them, but you have 4 symbols and the name of the ruling power. So ancient Bhogavardhana, that is modern Bhokardan in Aurangabad district of present state of Maharashtra, has yielded coins bearing the Ujjain symbol on them. This Ujjain symbol is the royal symbol of the Satavahanas. These coins are made of copper or of lead. The layers from which the coins have been reported are dated to 3rd, 2nd century BCE. Ajay Mitra Shastri places them in the pre-Satavahana frame. So with the writings of Ajay Mitra Shastri, actually we are introduced to the pre-Satavahana phase in a very distinct fashion. The inscribed pre-Satavahana coins have been reported from Malwa region in Madhya Pradesh, Telangana region in Andhra Pradesh, Vidarbha in Maharashtra. Now, the city issues of Tagara, that is modern Ted in the Osmanabad district of Maharashtra, were also pre-Satavahana issues. We also have Sevaka coins, where you get the title Sevaka. This coin series forms a distinct part of the pre-Satavahana phase. Very interestingly, it does not have any bearing on the Satavahana coinage. So you do not get any connection between the Sevaka coins and the Satavahana coins. Now let us move to the next issue. We have to understand the monetary history of Deccan. So, in order to understand the monetary history of Deccan, one has to take several things into account. Though there are a number of sites which have yielded coins from pre-Satavahana layers, but these are not sufficient for understanding the monetary history of the then Deccan on the whole. So numismatic issues at least indicate that there was a distinct pre-Satavahana phase, and the Satavahanas imitated the coins which were circulating in the pre-Satavahana phase. So a very distinct character of the Satavahana coinage is that they had been imitating the coins which were in circulation in such localities in the pre-Satavahana phase, just to maintain the continuity. So we will come to this issue later when we talk about the Satavahanas in a different module. The early historic sites of Tripuri, Vidarbha, Vidisha, Kotlingala, etc. have yielded a number of local pre-Satavahana coins which specific symbols as their own identity marks, which have been imitated by the Satavahanas in the later period. Both at Vidarbha and Vidisha, we find the use of archaic multiple die striking or punching technique for minting coins in the pre-Satavahana phase. As I have explained earlier, that the issues of Vidarbha were minted with punching technique. So were the issues of Vidisha, but there is a major difference between these two, because when you look at the coins of Vidarbha, you find that the technique which was used was very similar to that of the punch mark coins. But when you look at the coins of Vidisha, they are more organized and though they are done with multiple dies, but the device looks like a single device. Here you can see that the local rulers of Vidisha like Damabhadra, Bhumidatta, Narayana Mitra, etc. issued multiple die-struck copper coins. As I had already mentioned, that we find rulers with name endings Mitra, Datta and Bhadra, and we also get Senas. So here you have seen that the Damabhadra coin had a Bhadra name ending, Bhumidatta's coin had a Datta name ending, and Narayan Mitra's coin had a Mitra name ending. So all of them were actually ruling in the region of Vidisha, which is now in Madhya Pradesh. The coins bear a tree in railing, a triangle headed standard within train railing, a terrain, and the name of the ruler as separate punches. So these have been placed on the coin using separate punches, but when you see the coin here, you find that it's a whole device almost, arranged in a particular fashion. And the coins issued by the Satavahanas in this region, which has been placed below, you can see it, and these have been modeled just imitating the type which was circulating in Vidisha. So this is a typical feature of the Satavahana phase. So the pre-Satavahana phase almost continues in the Satavahana issues. Only the name of the Satavahana ruler and the royal symbol of the Satavahanas, that is the Ujjain symbol, were added, and rest of the device and fabric of the coin remains the same. So when you look at the coins of the Satavahanas, you cannot identify them very easily because they just resemble the coins of Vidisha, like the local ruler of Vidisha. Now, what is the major difference? Once again I repeat, the major difference will be the Ujjain symbol, which is the royal symbol of the Satavahanas. And very interestingly, the Ujjain symbol has been merged with the terrain symbol here. Pre-Satavahana coins of Vidarbha, which we had been discussing, were issued by local rulers like Damabhadra, Kanhamitra, Dharmabhadra, Suryamitra, etc. The Vidarbha region was under the Mitras and the Bhadras, and it was later occupied by the Satavahanas. As already mentioned, they were issuing coins with punching technique, and very significant are the coins of Suryamitra because he was the last ruler to issue pre-Satavahana coins in Vidarbha. So his coins were actually restruck by the Satavahanas. Particularly, the restriking was done by Sri Satakarni, which clearly mentions that this area was occupied from Suryamitra or from his successor by Satakarni. So at Vidarbha, we find that the Satavahana phase begins after Suryamitra's reign and the pre-Satavahana ends with Suryamitra's reign. The pre-Satavahana coins issued by rulers like Swami Gopa, Gobhadra from Kotlingala are very significant because this is a very distinct pre-Satavahana phase at Kotlingala. When you look at the pre-Satavahana phase in Deccan and even beyond, you get the coins of Vidisha, and after that you get the coins of Vidarbha, and coming down to Kotlingala, you find that these were very distinct pre-Satavahana pockets, and here you get the names like Swami Gopa, Gobhadra, which are very important rulers, local rulers of the Kotlingala region who issued coins, and on their coins you find bow and arrow, which is placed beside the six-armed symbol. The coins of Kamavaya Siri, Srivaya and Narana from Kotlingala are also pre-Satavahana issues. So on your left you can see the coin issued by Swami Gopa, and on your right you can see another coin where you have a very distinct Ujjain symbol. This coin clearly has the name of Simukha. So it's a continuation of the pre-Satavahana phase and how the Satavahanas were issuing coins in the Kotlingala region. From the early historic phase of Tripuri near Jabalpur of the present state of Maharashtra, you get a set of coins which has a human figure on them. So these are typically coins of Tripuri. So Tripuri is in Madhya Pradesh, and you get a set of coins from here which have the human figure on them. And these coins are typically pre-Satavahana coins of the locality of Tripuri. It is very significant to note that the coins of Tripuri were also imitated by the Satavahanas. And here on your right you can see the coin of Tripuri being imitated by the Satavahanas with the human figure. And this coin clearly reads Sri Satasa. The Satavahanas copied the same device on their coins which they had issued for this region. So it's the continuity of the pre-Satavahana coinage or imitation of the pre-Satavahana series once the locality was captured or was annexed to the Satavahana territory. So in numismatics we do not have sudden changes. So the changes are very gradual because it is the case of money. So whatever is circulating actually continues for some more time and then a major change is introduced. This is done because of trade. To make the trade run in a proper manner or without any disturbance, usually the coin types are continued. Now let us move to the upper Mahanadi region. Here we find a locality in Chhattisgarh region which is the territory of Malhar, and this region is very significant because this region was issuing coins from 1st century BC to 4th century AD, and if not at least 3rd century AD, you find that in the upper Mahanadi valley, the coins of Malhar were circulating, and a typical character of these coins is that they are dynastic cum city issues. Just to mention them that they come from the city of Malhar or from the urban locality of Malhar, a particular symbol was used, and this symbol almost resembles the Brahmima, though this is not a Brahmima. But this region maintained its own identity and was not under the Satavahanas. Several Satavahana coins have also been reported from the site of Malhar. But up to 3rd century AD, the site was continuously issuing coins of its own. Now let us see some coins of Malhar region. Here you find the rulers like Silalusiri, Achadasiri, Dharmabhadra in the first phase, that is 1st century BC to 1st century AD, they have been issuing coins. And then you find a very significant dynasty, that is the Maghas of Kosala region. So these are different from the Maghas of Kosambi. They issued coins and there were 9 Magha rulers. Then you find a different phase altogether where you have coins of Silalusiri and you have the coins of Bhalika, and finally a new type emerges, that is elephant deity type. So in this whole phase you find that at least 4 different dynasties or powers were ruling. Now on your left you can see a Panchmark coin which has the typical Malhar symbol on it, and the second coin is the coin of Maghashri, and rest of the Magha rulers, that is Shiva Magha, then Siddhya Magha, Paramagha and all have been displayed here. Now this is a very significant coin which was previously identified as a Satavahana coin of Apelaka, but this belongs to a local ruler called Shivasri Silalukasa that also has a Malhar symbol. And the last phase is the elephant deity series, as I have mentioned. Initially these coins were inscribed and gradually they turn into uninscribed series. So this locality of Malhar also maintained its identity along with the Satavahana. So it's a pre-Satavahana and a continuity of the Satavahana phase where the locality is maintaining its own identity. Now the Rathikas and the Bhojakas are very important groups. The Rathikas and the Bhojakas are mentioned in the Mauryan inscriptions, particularly the inscriptions of Ashoka. And we find the elevated status of the Ratikas and Bhojakas, wherein they become Maharathis and Mahabhojas, and they issued several coins. So we get the coins of the Ratikas and the Bhojakas, rather Maharathis and Mahabhojas in the pre-Satavahana phase. And a very typical character of Deccan is that when the Satavahanas are ruling, contemporary with the Satavahanas, we get the coins of the Ratikas, that is the Maharathis and Mahabhojas. So they rule simultaneously with the Satavahanas. So this is actually the locality ruler who is a Maharathi and a Mahabhoj. The Maharathis and the Mahabhojas are examples of such pre-Satavahana powers who were also contemporary of the Satavahanas and maintained their locality status in pockets where such Rathika or Bhojaka rulers ruled alongside the Satavahanas. In archaeological excavations and explorations, a number of local coins of Maharathi families have been recorded, which for the first time introduced them as the ruler of those localities. Among them, the Kuras of Brahmapuri and Belgaon, Anandas and Sadakanas of Banavasi, Sadas of Vaddamanu, Hathis of Veerapuram, etc. were major powers. They also used royal title like Rajan, Raya, Rayo, which definitely suggests an elevated status. But when you look at these coins, you find three stages. Initially, they are Ratikas and Bhojakas, then they are Maharathis and Mahabhojakas, then they start using the titles like Raya, Rajan, etc. So the three stages are very, very distinct. When you look at the two coins displayed here, you find the coins of the Kuras, who were also Maharathis. So the Mahabhojas of Konkan region played important role in the history of the coastal Deccan. Besides numismatic specimens, they also are mentioned in more than one inscriptions from popular Buddhist sites, particularly cave sites of Kuda, situated in the Raigad district of present-day state of Maharashtra. The coins of Mahabhojas bear the name of the rulers like Mahabhoja Sadakara Sudassana, Mahabhoja Sadageri, Kosiputa Sudassana, Mahabhoja Vasitiputa Sivama, and Mamadava Sivama, etc. So the Mahabhojas are found ruling in the locality of the coastal tract of the western coast particularly, and they have the symbol of a turtle or a tortoise on their coin. So on the Mahabhoja coins, we find the depiction of a tortoise, which is actually their symbol, the symbol of their locality. So on the reverse of the coins of the Mahabhojas, at times you find the Ujjain symbol, which is the royal emblem of the Satavahanas, and at other times you also find that on the reverse there is a thunderbolt, which is actually the royal symbol of the Shakas. So the Mahabhojas are seen shifting their allegiance once to the Satavahanas and at times to the Shakas. So the Shakas and the Satavahanas were actually the contenders in the Deccan region. So what I want to say here is that the Mahabhojas were the locality rulers of the western coast, and they maintained their identity as a locality in the pre-Satavahana phase and also in the Satavahana phase, which is very, very significant. This suggests that the Mahabhojas shifted their allegiance once to the Satavahanas and then to the Shakas. The numismatic evidence here indicates toward a political contestation. If pre-Satavahana is taken as a period between the decline of the Mauryas and the rise of the Satavahanas, then mainly 5 prominent localities, that is Vidisha, Vidarbha, Tripuri, Kotlingala and Malhar, are seen as issuing their own locality coinages. So pre-Satavahana phase is very distinct in all these 5 localities. So if we are tracing localities in the pre-Satavahana phase, these 5 places emerge as very, very significant localities, and besides these we have other localities as well, and along with them we have the Ratikas and the Bhojakas. Most of these coin types were imitated by the Satavahanas, who occupied or extended their power over these localities. For the sake of continuity of the metallic currency and smooth monetary transition, the coinage was visually kept in sync, or in other words, imitated with the minor changes. Mainly, the name of the ruler was changed and the addition of Satavahana royal symbol was also introduced. Pre-Satavahana cannot be extended in all terms beyond the 1st century BCE in any case. But as already discussed, a number of local dynasties which ruled in several pockets as contemporary powers of the Satavahanas, from whom they later occupied regions or localities one by one at different times, are found in that region. Thus, these regions or localities witness the pre-Satavahana phase at diverse temporal units. Pre-Satavahana cannot be taken as a homogeneous time frame in the region of Deccan. In the second case, pre-Satavahana extended even up to the 2nd century CE, when minor dynasties and localities were gradually being brought under the Satavahana sphere of influence. Early historic Deccan witnessed the process of secondary state formation, wherein the Satavahanas emerged as a major power. Besides the Satavahanas, the Shakas were also ruling in portions of Deccan and were major contenders of the Satavahanas. The pre-Satavahana phase, as discussed till now, witnessed the rise of several localities and powers, among which the Maharathis and the Mahabhojas were the most prominent ones. The phase is marked by the issuance of large variety of copper and lead coins, which were circulating in the small regions, and thus economy of the region is marked by currency pockets, which is very significant in Deccan, and it's a typical feature of Deccan where you find small currency pockets wherein these coins were circulating, and you do not find such coins in the other currency pockets. So when the Satavahanas will come to power in these regions, they will continue the currency pockets. At the same time, they also introduce their own kind of currency, which can be called universal, and this will be discussed in the Satavahana coins and currency system module. So you have to follow that module to know more about the Satavahana. So we have seen till now that pre-Satavahana is a phase in Deccan. When we talk about Deccan, it is mentioned as Dakshinapatha, and that is the region which is to the south of the Vindhyas. And at times you find the pre-Satavahana coins circulating in the region of Madhya Pradesh, particularly in Vidisha and Tripuri, which we had seen. So this was another region which has a distinct pre-Satavahana phase, but we have mentioned it along with Deccan only for the reason that we find that the Satavahanas continued to rule here, and they continued to issue the same type of coins which were circulating in this region of Vidisha and Tripuri. So from Vidisha, Tripuri, Kotlingala, then we come to the locality of Malhar, which had its identity of its own, though it was not issuing any coins. And finally in Deccan we have the Ratikas and the Bhojakas, who issued coins as Maharathis and Mahabhojas. So this comes up as a very typical kind of a coinage pattern of currency pockets in Deccan, and the Satavahanas are seen as an evolving power, maintaining the localities and also maintaining their own power. So to learn more and to continue as a sequel to learn about the Satavahanas, do join in to the course on Satavahanas on EPG Pathshala. Thank you very much for learning about the pre-Satavahana phase with me. Thank you.